Hi guys, welcome back to Skoldiers Spice. I am Sally. Thank you so much for joining me this Tuesday evening on the Vikings First and Skol Network. Well, the draft is over and done with. We've got it in our rearview mirror, and reactions to the Vikings draft are all over the place. I've got Eric Thompson here with me tonight to give me his reactions to the Vikings 2025 draft class and the acquisition of Sam Howell via trade. Does this mean that we can put the Vikings QB2 debate to rest finally at last? And plus, we have some breaking news. A fan favorite Vikings defender has just signed a contract extension. Let's get into it. We got Dustin and Ron here. Hello. Hi, Eric.
Hey, there I am. Yes, even with the Chiron and everything.
Yes.
Good to
How
be
are you, my
back.
king?
I am doing I am doing very well. It has been the draft is for, as far as what the Vikings had to do, like the very low amount of draft picks. I think it turned out pretty well. The first round draft pick wasn't probably the blockbuster that many people hope for, but I think it filled a huge need for the Vikings. And again, like everything was kind of done with now that after and all the undrafted free agents after the draft as well. I think there's a couple of names to be excited for there. I think it's going to be a really fun, exciting offseason and training camp because this team is really set up well for JJ McCarthy, who was throwing footballs today. He was at a
I
press
know.
conference. We saw actual live video of him throwing. So it probably overall, this isn't going to be in a top 10 super exciting draft for the Vikings, but it's really good to fill in some of the pieces around this roster that was already strong coming in.
Absolutely. Walked away with 5 picks, went in with 4, walked away with 5. I think a lot of us thought maybe they were going to get a couple more. 6 if you want to count the trade. So not terrible. I was personally surprised that they did not trade back in the first. What did you think?
Yeah, it was a surprisingly low amount of trades overall,
Yeah.
especially early in the
Yeah.
draft for the NFL. And I think that speaks to kind of the draft class itself. After about the top three, the
Mhm.
three blockbuster names, I think everything from about 5 to 8 all the way to the end of the first round was relatively close for the talent that the teams were getting. So I think it was I'm guessing the Vikings probably fielded some calls, made some calls, but ended up coming away with Donovan Jackson. And I think that a lot of people have him as the best guard on the board. My NDSU bias is probably showing through. I wouldn't have minded Gray Zabel there, like that would have been fun. But the Seahawks already took him before the Vikings got around to 24. But yeah, like
Yes.
it was kind of surprising to see so few trades and trade backs. But again, I think that kind of speaks to the level of talent. I think this is a deep draft, but not a very top heavy draft. So I don't think there were a lot of teams really trying to jump in, especially when you consider the Shedeur Sanders thing. Like that was kind of the thought going in. Oh, some teams absolutely going to jump in at 24 if he's still there, and he didn't go till day 3. So
I
it
know.
always surprises you.
I know. How crazy. Yeah, well, look, Sam Darnold, hopefully he will spend a lot less time on his back this year with Gray Zabel there to help him out. Oh my gosh, I have so many dogs on my lap. But agreed with you. There was so little trades. I was at the Vikings draft party having a ton of fun, and the drinks were flowing. I was in the VIP area, so unlimited drinks, and you gotta get your money's worth when the drinks are free.
Right.
And I'm sitting here, I'm calculating the time. I'm trying to figure out what time is it going to be around when pick 24 gets there. And I think my calculations were it'll be almost 10 or something like that. And then
You're
I
right
look
on.
at the clock and they this year at the draft party for some reason didn't put any of the picks on the sound at all. Like normally they'll cut in, they'll do the little do 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 tell you the pick and then keep going, but they weren't. And all of a sudden I'm like, holy shit, it's pick 23 already because there were so few trades. But um, I was a little, at that point, it's like Jordan Reed said to me the Tuesday before the draft, getting offensive linemen, it's kind of like socks and underwear for Christmas. You need it, but it's just not that exciting, especially because they were still some safeties and some corners on the board that they would just be a little splashier, a little more exciting. Like Eman Worry was there, but of course, at the end of the day, you got to respect Kwesi and KOC prioritizing protecting their young quarterback in the draft and this offseason. That's what's most important at the end of the day, I think, because you got to protect him. He's your long-term investment. He's your franchise guy. So I am happy with the pick at the end of the day. It's just after all the excitement leading up to the draft party, you're kind of like, really?
Yeah, the socks and underwear analogy is perfect, and that no one like loves an offensive lineman draft pick in April, but you really like it in January, and you really
Mhm.
appreciate the offensive line when your season ends in January because of the interior offensive line. Like that was
Right.
I could I again you wonder if you could get Jackson later, trade back, and get maybe more of a splashier pick. But the Vikings, like you can't argue with the approach, or you can argue, but like I love the approach. The Kwesi and Kevin O'Connell said, "Okay, we got this far. It was an unexpectedly overperforming season, but what ultimately stopped them? They went against the Lions, they went against the Rams, they got absolutely blown up through the middle of the line, and that was it. The end of the season, 14-3, boom, completely. That's it. So like that's again, it's not the sexiest pick by any means, but and Jackson's a bruiser. Like he and how about a guy that can just he played guard for most of his career, goes out to left tackle, just goes and wins a national championship for Ohio State. Not too bad. Like it shows his versatility, and I think he fits the profile for what the Vikings are looking for in the interior line. And if they can revamp that, if you have Fries and Kelly and with
Right.
along and Jackson with the bookends, O'Neal and Darrisaw that are reliable, and now they have a couple pieces of depth in case anyone goes down and gets hurt. It's not
Right.
crazy to think the Vikings they could have like a top 5 offensive line. And Dave and I were talking before the show. It's like, when's the last time that happened? Maybe 2009,
Mhm.
1998. And what do those years have in common? The Vikings did pretty well those years. So like that, it's not a super exciting pick, but I definitely agree with the reasoning behind it.
Absolutely. And that's always the biggest pet peeve when teams draft a quarterback high and then they end up just having no success. It's because they don't protect them. They don't invest in the offensive line. And it's just so sad to see because with those guys, who knows what could have happened with them if they could have had success if the team just invested in that. So ultimately I am really happy that they did protect them. But all right, let's move into the second pick. That there was nothing going on the next day. And then I was at the Wolves game when we're at day 3, and it comes in that they picked a wide receiver. This is the one that I think I've seen the most criticism about. I've seen fans the most, I don't know, just disappointed in, I guess. And I think going into the draft, I saw people saying that wide receiver was the one thing that they really didn't want the Vikings to invest in at all. And then I've seen a lot of people say that they think this is a stretch. I don't know much about the guy at all, except for that when he played, he plays for Maryland. When he was in Minnesota, playing against them, I guess he had a great game here
Mhm.
at Huntington Bank Stadium. And we've had great luck with Maryland receivers in the past here in Minnesota, which is great. Do you have any thoughts on God, what's our guy's name? Ty?
Ty Felton.
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, it was surprising that the Vikings went wide receiver in the third round, and it was surprising that they went with Felton, who, again, I'm not going to pretend to be some sort of crazy draft guru that knows the top 300 recruits or anything. I am much
Right.
more of
Yeah.
who did the Vikings pick? I will dive deep in on those. And from what I've seen on Felton, yes, he had a great game against the Gophers. Daniel House, who covers the Gophers, our buddy, he had glowing praise for Felton. I think mostly because from that game against the Gophers. It's his athleticism is definitely there. The relative athletic score that if you see that ever show up on Twitter under Math Bomb, I think it was Kentley Platt. I want to say his name is. He's great. Like just shows the relative like their combine or pro day kind of times and everything, and he was in the 90th percentile compared to all. So his scores are good there. From everything I've seen from a scouting perspective, it's he's pretty like inconsistent, I guess, with at the catch point. I think that's was the biggest criticism that I've seen so far, and from the tape I've seen, that kind of matches up. It doesn't, he definitely has some things to clean up as far as just being a wide receiver. But again, the last time that the the Vikings drafted a Terp for a wide receiver in the middle rounds. That worked out pretty good. And again, and it's kind of the same. There's so many similarities in the draft profile between he and Diggs. Like I think Diggs
Mhm.
slid a little more because of his injury history, but like Felton is a really good athlete, maybe a little bit undersized, has some things to clean up. And he's supposed to be able to come in right away and make a difference on special teams, and that's the returner has been a need for a while for the Vikings as well.
Right.
So like that's I again, I was surprised by the pick, but in Kwesi we trust, and again that just with the so few picks that the Vikings had, I can understand why this is the most polarizing among the Vikings fans.
Yeah, it seems like KOC seems like he was really happy with the pick. He was really excited about the guy. On this, I mean, I guess what are you going to say about it if you weren't excited about it, right? But he seems like he's super stoked about it. And you're right, they do need a special teams guy, a return specialist. Brandon Powell was never that great at it in the first place, but he's gone anyway. So that is a position of need. So that is a bright side. Let's see. I have people in the chat saying, "Did my Boston get replaced with a Frenchie?" I wish I could show you guys what's going on in my lap right now. I have literally 3 dogs in my lap because they would not calm down. So I have 2 Frenchies and a Boston in my lap. We'll see how long that lasts for. But what's up, guys, in the chat? I can't scroll because my hands are full, but you guys are being very chatty, and I really appreciate it. Okay, I gotta try to see what Dave said to me though. Dave, I don't know. Send me another text, Dave. I don't know what we're talking about. Oh wait. Anyway. Oh, Mike
I
is
hope
picking. Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's getting a little noisy.
Oh, for real?
hmm
Oh my gosh.
I
I'm
th-
sorry,
I, th-
guys.
I thought it was from the dogs, but I'm like, no, they're not close enough to be making that kind of
Oh.
noise in there.
Oh gosh. I don't think it's gonna be. Sorry, y'all. It can't be my
every time
phone.
those papers move, it gets way noisy.
Could it be my computer?
What I'm thinking it is.
Yeah,
How
it
can my
sounds like it's big.
how can my computer be on too? Is that a thing?
It probably means your Rode microphone isn't on.
It's moving. It's plugged in.
Tap
Oh my
it for
gosh,
me.
you guys. This is embarrassing. I'm sorry.
Not
Yeah,
hearing it.
yep. I think you're just coming straight from the laptop.
Are y'all serious? All right, what do I do?
Settings.
Oh my gosh, I'm sorry. Oh man.
The 2 bars at the top right.
The beauty of
Oh,
live
oh,
podcasts.
The Apple settings. Oh man, you guys. All right. This is I am so I don't
You can
even
hear
see.
my
Oh,
dogs.
sound. Okay. Sound settings. Mm-mm.
Should say
Output,
Rodecaster Duo.
input. Yeah, they both say Rodecaster. Um, I swear. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Could it be
Well, it sounds fine as long as the
as
whatever
long
is
as my papers
moving
around
around.
there?
As long as you're not moving around. Yeah,
Okay.
right now it's good.
Okay.
So we'll
All
trudge on.
right. I just want to have my papers up there. I don't know. I feel like it's moving on my Roadcaster. All right, y'all. Okay. Is it all right? Cool, Dave. Now.
It's better.
Okay. Well, okay. Is there a way I can check it on here on Ecamm?
I like
It may have
the
been
voice
when
of,
you came in, you
I
authorized
checked
the
it.
wrong mic.
I thought I could have sworn I checked it. Gary, thank you so much for the super chat. I really appreciate you.
um
Country Sal was coming out. That's probably because I'm flustered. And Alex McLetty says now it's good. All right, I will just not flutter these papers around, and hopefully everything is good. Okay. Anyways, back to what what were we talking about? We talked about Ty. Who's up next? I don't want to mix my papers around. Okay. Well, were you surprised that at 3, with so many guys around, we had the corners available, safeties available, that were ranked on a lot of draft boards higher than him? Were you surprised that they ignored that need?
Yeah, like that's kind of the one area that I still have the most concern about, especially when it comes to depth, is defensive back. Because as much as I love future Hall of Famer Harrison Smith, he has been in the league for a while. Like I remember way back when I first covered training camp, I think he was there. I was following him around, and like that was several years. I think that might have been before I had kids, and I just had one that had turned 12 last week. So like that's like, he's been around a while. But like at corner too, the good thing is like I think people are kind of forgetting that that Becton's going to be coming back, and um or Blackman, sorry,
Yeah.
Mekhi Blackman's going to be coming back. Murphy's still in the mix. Isaiah Rogers has been added, but like that's a decent starting the corners. But after that, it gets kind of dicey, and that's what with so many seemed like that was what I kind of figured out for like if the next pick was going to be some sort of defensive back. So I think that was another big drawback of Felton, that is what positions he didn't play rather than what positions he did play.
Yeah, I think it says that they do have confidence in Blackman coming back for sure and being strong when he does come back, since they didn't go that way. Let's see. Something I thought was interesting, not to skip over, but that Kobe King has a twin brother playing on the Packers. I think that could be something that could be a little fun rivalry to keep an eye on. But what did you think of who the Packers drafted at 23?
Yeah, I mean, I made the joke right after they drafted him. They have their 6th number 2 wide receiver on their team. but
Right,
yeah, like
right.
that's yeah. I mean, they have so many of them. They don't have a Justin Jefferson, but they have lots of guys that can be the second best wide receiver on the team. That said, I mean, it was universally praised almost by all the draft gurus, and Golden was one of the guys. Like I thought he was probably the most pro-ready wide receiver in the draft. I but I will never give the Packers credit, so I'll just keep making the joke until he actually burns us. I hope that he turns out to be another okay but not great wide receiver that the Packers can throw at the Vikings, but still the Vikings can sweep him again. So yeah, like it's
Yeah.
I can't hate on the pick like empirically. Like I think it was a good pick. Like if it was any other team, I'd probably appreciate it more. But yeah, they don't. Do you think that's going to be the missing piece of the Packers? I have my doubts.
It just caught me by surprise for sure, being that, first of all, they had so many defensive needs. And then to not take a wide receiver in the first round since 2002, when, yes,
Hmm.
they were saying just last year that they had 5 wide receivers that could be wide receiver ones on other teams. And they go and take a first round wide receiver. And I was just thinking at that time, like, whoa, Aaron Rodgers. Okay, so I posted this like reel or TikTok that was pretty shady about Aaron Rodgers is going to be so pissed. The reason I said Aaron Rodgers is going to be pissed is because he said that from his own mouth, that he was pissed that they wouldn't draft a first round wide receiver. Not that I was saying they didn't ever have talent at wide receiver, like their stupid fans kept commenting. But he said that himself. So then I'm thinking, oh my God, if Aaron Rodgers really did come to the purple, which it seems like is even less likely now, he's even going to be more fired up because they finally drafted this. It just caught me by surprise on so many levels that they did that. I don't know. It
Yeah.
just
Well,
I just found it hilarious.
the biggest surprise is I think I saw something on Twitter that the Golden's gonna wear number 22, which is just
Oh,
like I think now wide receivers can wear pretty much any number, but like that's gross. Like that's a running back number. I hope he changes it and to a single digit or something like that. I firmly
yeah.
believe that your uniform number choice can make a big difference in how your career turns out. So hopefully that terrible number sticks with him and he plays as just like it.
Yeah, I don't like how they have so much flexibility in the numbers these days. It just like I don't know. It just throws you off. Well, let's talk about Andrew Van Ginkel really quick because I see the chat popping off about that. Our guy Kwesi has had a crazy week. Holy crap. He's got the draft, and then he was courtside at the Wolves on Sunday. And here he is on Tuesday busting out this contract extension for Andrew Van Ginkel. He's going to be now with the Vikings through at least 2026 season, added an additional year for $23 million. Right. Almost 22 and a half guaranteed. So big pay bump for him. How excited are you about this move?
I mean, it's a great move. And again, like the initial sticker shock of the Adam Schefter tweets is always like $23 million for 1 year. That's a lot for an edge rusher. And it is a decent amount for an edge rusher. But when you average out what he's going to be making this year, it basically comes out to 2 years at like 17 or 17.5 million per year, which puts him at like the top 15 or top 20 as far as edge rushers. And if you don't think Van Ginkel is the top 20 edge rusher, I don't know what to tell you, because he's definitely in that mix. And I mean, not just the crazy pick sixes that he had, he just made impact play after impact play throughout the season. Like every Dolphins fan that I interacted with after the Vikings picked up Van Ginkel was like, "You are gonna really like this guy," and they were wrong because I absolutely loved him. Like it turned out way better than anyone could have expected, I think, and I'm super glad to have him around for another year. And again, yes, the initial sticker shock of having $22 million for one extra year seems like a lot, but as long as you're staggering everything and breaking everything up and not giving everyone a big payday in the same season, and Kwesi has been really good with that, and we got the cap guru still working his magic. So I think it's a great move. And a lot of people, I've seen some initial feedback. It's like, well, that tells you what they think about Dallas Turner. It's like, no, I think it tells you more about the edge rushers that they did let go in this offseason. Like having three great options at edge rusher is a nice problem to have, and it's kind of necessary these days because you're not going to have an edge rusher be playing 90% of the snaps. He's not going to be effective. You want to have guys that you can rotate in. So I still am holding out hope for Turner, but this is a great move, having Van Ginkel and Grenard as bookends on each side of the rushing the passer. It's a great thing to have.
Absolutely agree with you. They made such a huge impact last year, and what great security to have him around for at least another year. You don't want to risk him hitting the open market, I don't think, in next offseason. You might be paying him even more. I think I read, I think Dustin Baker wrote an article that said he was about 15th most paid at the position now, which I think is about fair given the productivity he had last year. So I don't care. Oh man. Hey Rap, so good to see you. Okay. Son of Beavers is bringing up Jaron Hall, which how crazy how incestuous it has gotten with the Seahawks QB room this last 2 months or so, with Sam Darnold, Jaron Hall, Sam Howell. Just I don't know. It's kind of crazy, but yeah. So we had the Vikings trading back 30 spots in the 5th round to acquire Sam Howell, who what is it? He's played 3 seasons. He's 24, and he was a 5th round pick. Played 1 season as a starter for Washington. Wasn't great. Showed some flares, but he ultimately, what did he have? 21 touchdowns and 21 picks. 60 something sacks.
Yep.
60 something sacks. So
yeah, that's the alarm.
He is the newest member of newest KOC requisition project. It seems like newest rehab project. Do you think he actually is gonna be QB2 or what's going on here?
I think it's a pretty decent likelihood, and it's with the Seahawks, like you said, it's like the change dish at a gas station. Give a Sam, take a Sam. That's what we're doing on quarterback. Yeah. And yeah, Howell, like if you just look at the counting numbers, like he had almost 4,000 yards the 1 year that he was a starter in Washington. But yeah, lots of sacks, lots of interceptions, and lots of losses. I think he was like 4-13 or something like that as a start.
Yep.
But that entire Commanders team was an absolute train wreck. It wasn't just Sam. And yeah, and he's one of those, like I keep on telling people, it's like, yeah, that's it. What the Vikings need is JJ McCarthy to be A, healthy, and B, good to above average. He doesn't. JJ McCarthy doesn't have to be the greatest thing since sliced bread right out of the gate because the Vikings have built such a great roster around him. However, if McCarthy misses a game or two for injury or anything else, Howell has at least the reps, and I think he threw I'm looking at his up the set. He threw 612 passes that year.
Yes.
It was high volume, high like it was high usage
Mhm.
rate for Howell. So he does have the experience, and there are fewer situations that are better to come in and having Kevin O'Connell coach you. At least early on in his coaching career, like what he did with Sam Darnold last year is nothing short of amazing. So why not do it with another Sam? Like that's. But again, like if Howell has to start for half the year or most of the year, the Vikings are probably screwed. But I think he'll definitely be in the mix for QB2. And like speaking of the undrafted class, like the Vikings always have done pretty well with the last few years. Brosmer from the Gophers, like I could see
Yeah.
him, making a practice squad or maybe even hitting at the 53. Like it's. I don't, again, he's not one I don't think is going to be ready to be an NFL starter in year one, but like that's another interesting project. I'm glad I'm like legit excited to see him in training camp.
Yeah, when I saw again, I think it was at the Wolves game when it came through. I'm like, what the heck is this? What is this? It was like, is this another Jaron Hall situation? Because I did not understand why they wasted a pick. I felt like on Jaron Hall, that 5th round pick, when they acquired him. I was like, what is this for? But now that I've had time to think about it, I'm like, well, okay, this does kind of make sense. I was thinking that they would probably go older at QB2 because of like a mentorship sort of situation. I know everybody says he doesn't need a mentor. He's got KOC, he's got McCown, and I understand that, but I just kind of thought, well, and honestly, our guy Rap is in the chat, and he convinced me. He kind of turned the tide for me on Rodgers, which I can't believe I'm saying out loud, but I was like, okay, I'll embrace the chaos on this. So I kind of was like, well, I have to just accept that this is going to happen. And this was just so, I don't know. It was just like, oh, this is what it's going to be. What's going to keep me up at night now? If QB2 is settled, what's going to keep me up at night? What am I going to think about? My own life? No.
Yeah. But it's fine for a football team to be relatively boring this time of year. Like that means like the Vikings this draft I get like I don't know if you got the same kind of vibe. Like maybe it was kind of similar at the draft party. It's like this wasn't a oh my gosh, who are the Vikings going to pick draft? It's like oh I hope they
Yeah.
round out the roster. But that's a great place to be in. Where
Yes,
you look at some of these teams that are perennially in the top 5 or 10. It's like this is the Jaguar Super Bowl every year. Like this is like who are we getting in the top 5, and then we'll see you next year at the same time kind of thing. So like it's okay to not have the chaos. I know for the talking heads and the podcasts and the social media and everything, and certain accounts that post about Aaron Rodgers 14 times a day that claim to be Vikings accounts. Like that's it's a damage to them, but like it's fine. Like that's okay. And if I had thought that Rodgers had more left in the tank, I might be more inclined to embrace the chaos. But I'm okay with having a backup quarterback that is seen and not heard. That's kind of like what you're supposed to be. You're just supposed to be there and be available, rather than having everyone talk.
I'm parting. I'm dumping them. I'm dumping them.
Dog down.
I can't do it anymore. Okay. All right. They're gone.
But yeah, I couldn't do it with Rodgers anymore. That is a very good metaphor for what we're doing with the Aaron Rodgers conversation. We are putting them down on the floor and until we're moving on to other things.
Sorry, I just saw your chat. Yeah, I know. I'll put it to bed. But as I was reading more about him, I'm like, okay, there's some hope to him, and I can see the parallels maybe with the Sam Darnold. So he did have some bright moments in Washington that maybe we could maybe we could see more with him. Speaking of, I know training camp has come up a couple times. And the Vikings, something that I think is a long shot, but it could be kind of cool. They did invite Randy Moss's son to rookie camp, and he has not been. Nobody had experts or anything have said that he has NFL potential. But could you see if he did okay at rookie camp that maybe the Vikings would extend him an invite to come to training camp and just hang out and be an extra body? And maybe Randy would even come hang out.
Sure, why not? Like I mean, that's kind of the only reason why we're aware of someone that got invited to rookie camp is that
Right.
they were his name. And I like because he had another kid that had like he played for the University of Miami, I believe, a couple years
Maine,
back.
I believe.
Well, no, his other son.
Oh,
Yeah, this
oh,
yes.
yeah,
Montego is from yes, he's out of Maine and actually had a decent year. It looked like he had like
yeah.
9 or 10 touchdowns, had over 1,000 yards. Again, in Maine, who is still FCS, I believe. Um, so, but like, yeah,
Yeah, I saw they
that's
played
it's.
Richmond, which is so random. For
Yep,
me,
I mean,
being from Richmond. Yeah.
I'm probably pretty familiar with most of those teams because they're usually like when my alma mater, North Dakota State, makes the FCS playoffs. I'll see the Maines and the Richmonds of the world on the other side of the bracket or something else like that. So I'm at least quasi familiar with those teams. But yeah, I had no idea that until today that Randy Moss's son played for Maine. I looked up his stats. It's like, oh hey, cool. That's a fun April 29th story. Again, I think it's pretty much a long shot, but how cool would that
Right.
be if he did get the camp invite? Hopefully he shows up and shows out.
Yeah, no, yeah. It would just be such a cool story. I think it's unlikely too, but it would be awesome. You guys in the chat, okay, I'm gonna start hitting you guys up in a minute, but if you are here, make sure you like and subscribe. We would love to hit 6,000 subscribers before the schedule release on May 14th. I'm so excited that it's coming up earlier this year than it normally does. Usually they make us wait until the end of May. Do you have any away games that you're eyeing that you might check out depending on how the calendar falls?
Yeah, it always is calendar dependent, and my wife and I usually try to get to one away game every single year. I'd have to bring up the list. First of all, um, the Bulldog Montego was conceived in Jamaica. Like I literally had that thought as soon as like, like that had to be part of it. Um, like there, I have never been to Ford Field, and
Okay, yeah.
so like that's maybe I don't know, but like I don't really have a whole lot of desire to visit Detroit in like December or something like that. But maybe it's early in the year and the weather's decent or something like that. I don't know.
It's
Um,
never early. I wish it would. I feel like the earliest it ever is was it was Halloween once, and that was a nightmare. That was that year that I think it was. I think they started with Sam Bradford for a half, and then they pulled him and put
uh,
Case in. I think, if I'm remembering correctly. It was a
yeah,
nightmare. I just remember Randy Moss was dressed up as a Viking for his Halloween costume on the broadcast. And I thought it was so cool, and it was not.
yeah, and I mean they had that run of 2 years in a row with Thanksgiving, and yeah, and with the schedule rolling out where it's always two divisional teams the last 2 weeks of the season, that's probably less. So, like I did go to the last was maybe not the last, but I went to the Giants game in 2019, I believe, in New York, which was a fun
Mhm.
game. Vikings won. But that stadium, I don't know if I need to go back to it. Like it was fun to visit New York, of course, but like the stadium itself is in the middle of nowhere, and it's the
Right.
most giant, generic toaster oven looking stadium with no personality. I'd probably try. They play at the Chargers too, I think. So like I would,
Yes,
if
at
LA,
Chargers.
yep, because the Rams game I was kind of circling last year, but then it turned out to be a Thursday, and that's tougher to do during the week. And of course,
Mhm.
I work for Amazon Web Services, so if depending on when the Seattle game happens, I could, oh hey, I have to go have some meetings at work, and then and then stick around for the weekend. Maybe I could do that.
Sarah said, oh my gosh, I just lost it. Where was it? It was the most beautiful poem. Randy Moss, Montego Moss, Lakers got mossed, Wolves in five.
Beautiful.
Beautiful.
That's like my favorite meme like these
We
days
love
is
it.
that yes.
It's great. Yeah, and nothing. I feel like it's the worst away schedule this year. Again, yeah, it depends if because it always depends on when things fall. But there's nowhere I really want to go. There's nowhere desirable. Chargers could be cool, I guess, if it's in the winter-ish time because it'd be nice to get out of here. But I see a lot of people saying Pittsburgh. It could be cool. Like, Cincinnati's one of my favorite towns that I've been to. So maybe it's underrated kind of like that.
Don't want to see
But
Joe
mm,
Flacco in Cleveland?
I think Cleveland's here, right?
No, it's Cleveland.
Oh, no.
It's Cleveland and
Wait,
Pittsburgh away, and then Cincinnati and
Baltimore is
Baltimore at
here.
home. Yep.
Oh God. See, I
Mhm.
would have went to Cleveland before Deshaun signed, and I saw all of their fans and their terrible signs and their terrible jerseys and stuff, and it just definitely turned me off, I think. It definitely turned me off. Um, yeah, I don't know. It's just, I mean, I got to go somewhere. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe Skoldier Field would be cool before they get their new stadium, which is supposedly. I know a lot of people think we're going to get Ireland. I don't know. We're going to get 2 internationals
That does seem to be the
year,
rumor.
2 years in a row.
Yeah, that like, and again, because last year was a home international game, so going two in a row wouldn't be unheard of, unless you're the Packers and you only have to go international once in your whole history. But yeah, that's
Yeah, yeah.
if the rumor was, I think it was the like last week of September or the first week of October or something like that in Ireland. That would be something to circle. That's a bigger trip than, but I've done two of the London trips, and those were both awesome, like in 2017 and 2022. So
Oh, you
if
went
they go do
twice.
international, that's obviously the top of, if you can swing it, that's the international stuff's fun.
Yeah. Are there any undrafted free agents that you're familiar with that you're excited about?
Yeah, I mean, I
And
talked about Brosmer. The big one,
yeah,
uh, Logan Brown, the tackle out of Kansas. Everyone seems, again, I didn't know much about him until the Vikings signed him, and all the draft folks I follow are like, I can't believe he wasn't drafted. And so like digging into his draft profile seems pretty interesting. What was there was another one besides
I've seen Tommy Hill, the cornerback, a lot of people talking about. He was projected, I think, 6th or 7th and didn't get drafted. So I've seen a lot of people chattering about him potentially.
yeah, there's I think the edge rusher out of BYU. That was another one. He was on all the consensus boards.
Mhm.
He was projected. Tyler Batty, that's the name.
Oh,
Again,
yep.
yeah. So that like, and Arif does an amazing job at compiling everything and bringing out his the top 300 consensus board, and then even he had an article ranking the undrafted free agents, and of course the Vikings in his metric came out first, mostly because they had 19 of them, which is I
Yeah.
I thought there was some sort of limit, but I guess if they have the roster room for them, go ahead. And so the total value, like, and if recent history is any indication, don't be surprised if multiple uh, people from that list of 19 actually end up making the 53 in the practice squad. Like it's been a pretty big source, like that's been more reliable than the 6th and 7th round, I think, for the Vikings the last several years.
Right, exactly. I think that's probably why he doesn't sweat it that much, that he doesn't have any. I mean, could you imagine Rick Spielman not sweating, not having 7th round picks? I mean, he would die.
Well,
He
yeah,
would
I
die.
mean, I think Rick Spielman's ultimate goal was to one year have every pick in the 7th round. Like if he if he could have done that one year, I think he would have done it. Like that was his
Yeah.
ideal. Like, all right, they got 17 draft picks, and most of them were at the end of day 3. But good job.
Oh, right, absolutely. Like he would never turn one down. Okay, what else do we got today? Okay, we talked about JJ talking to the media. I heard Rap talk about this earlier, but I was definitely going to talk about this. JJ talked about, he reassured everybody that his knee is great, which we've heard him say before. I believe when he was at the golf tournament. But I thought it was interesting how he spoke again about he thrives in competition, he thrives under pressure, which we have seen in his college career. And I thought it was interesting how he pointed out that he believes that's because of his ADHD, which I didn't know that he had ADHD, but I thought it was really cool that he mentioned that as somebody who also has ADHD. And I just thought that made a lot of sense. And then he talked about his meditation and stuff too. And yeah, I don't know. I don't know what do you think about JJ coming out and talking about that kind of stuff?
I mean, he's great on the mic. Like
Hmm.
he says like everything every time that he has been interviewed. It's like, yes, that's exactly what I want to hear as a fan. And the pressure, like, if you want some pressure this year, JJ, you're gonna get it, because about your third incompletion, there's gonna be people coming out. Whoa, this is why you should have signed Rodgers, or this, like he's not ready. He didn't play enough in college. He was a system guy. Like that stuff is going to happen this year, regardless of how he plays. But he really seems to have his head screwed on straight, for lack of a better term. Like he is, he's ready for it. Like he's he's won at every single level, and of course that doesn't guarantee you anything in the NFL, but like he is that he just kind of seems like that prototype athlete. Like he's out of, I mean, the only thing I will say is when he's up there, I've never felt older as a human or a Vikings fan. Like just seeing JJ, like he looks so young still, and he's wearing his backwards hat today, and it's like, all right,
Hmm.
like I remember, like I mourned when Terrence Newman was finally off the team
Oh
because
yeah.
I think he was the last Vikings player on the 53 that I was still younger than, and now I'm older than everyone. But like that was now JJ is like I'm like dang, I'm almost twice his age now, so like that. But like other than that, like he's young, he looks like he's ready, and he's really good on the mic.
I love it how I brought JJ having up ADHD and then I completely lost my train of thought at the end of it, which is just so
Exhibit A,
so
there you go.
fitting.
Yeah,
So fitting. Me and JJ obviously have the opposite forms of ADHD. I have inattentive type. But you bring up Terrence Newman. So how crazy is this? So I always thought that that our girl's song, New Man on the Minnesota Vikings,
Lizzo. Yeah, I
Lizzo.
thought yeah that was my theory too, that he was because he was on the roster when she made that song. By the way,
I always thought it was about Eric Wilson. So Eric Wilson comes back to the team this offseason, acquired as a free agent. I make a TikTok and say Eric Wilson rejoins. I have that song as the background. And someone comments on it and says, that's not about Eric Wilson. That is about Terrence Newman. Eric Thompson is the one who said that. And they're like, doesn't it make sense? And I'm like, oh my God,
it
duh.
was
How
hiding
did
in
I?
plain sight. It was hiding in plain
Yeah.
sight. New man on the Minnesota. Like I have no proof of this. No one has verified this, but that's been my ongoing theory since the song came out.
Like, of course, that's what it is. I don't know how I never saw you say that. I felt so stupid. So that is so funny that you bring him up because I've been meaning to tell you that. I've been meaning to tell you that forever. All right, let's see what's popping off in the chat because we got a little bit more time. Took a DNA test. Turns out it was Eric Thompson. Absolutely. Yep. Let's see. Some of the nicest people have ADHD. Thank you, Davey. I'm just gonna assume you're talking about me and JJ, obviously. Can't wait to see JJ cook on Sunday, Monday, and Thursday. Hell yeah. And on whatever day Christmas is this year, because maybe they'll play on Christmas. Let's see what else we got going on in here, you guys. Sarah, I know Sarah's busting out some more poems that I missed. Well, how are you feeling about the Wolves, Eric? You think that they're going to win tomorrow night? Wrap it up.
I think they're going to win the series. I
Okay.
I have like the NBA is almost like they almost admit it. Like, would you be very surprised if the Lakers shot 45 free throws and the Timberwolves shot 10 tomorrow night? Like that's the whole thing. Like I think the Timberwolves are a better team. It's really hard to come back from 3-1 in any series, and but like the Timberwolves' depth and strength is like I think they're a good matchup with the Lakers, and they've proved it. Ant is he's reaching another level, and like how fun is Anthony Edwards? Like he
I
is
know.
just like he's like of course $50,000 fines aside for comments to the fans, like but again, like he's just authentic. Like it's a breath of fresh air. He talks so much crap to the other team, and but like he means it. Like, and I love after these games, he has 43 points, 16 in the fourth quarter this last game. What's the first thing he does in the post game? He praises his teammates. Like he just knows which buttons
Always.
to push. And he's 23 years old. Like it's so much
Hmm.
fun. It's going to be hard for the Wolves to run the gauntlet in the Western Conference. The OKC is really good, and but like, how cool would it be for back-to-back years to have Ant go through Kevin Durant and Joker last year, go through
Yeah.
LeBron and Luca, get his revenge on Luca this year, and possibly seeing Steph Curry and Draymond in the next round. By the way, I had a tweet about that. Like, if it is the Warriors and Timberwolves, Rudy and Gobert should just like fist fight like before the opening tip off of game one. Just get it out of the way, like a hockey, like when they plan to fight, like the USA and Canada did. Just fight right away, get technicals, get kicked out of the game, get it out of your system, because it's going to happen. Like both those guys are going to throw punches at some point in that series if it does happen.
You know what? I could see it. I could see it because they pick on Rudy so much as it is. Listen. Sometimes his own teammates pick on him.
Mm-hmm.
Remember that? Yeah, I think that it's great. Obviously, watching, and he just turned it on to another level that last game. I think that they could definitely wrap it up tomorrow night, and it would be nice if they did, so they could get some rest. I think
Mm-hmm.
that's what had so much to do with Luka just not even being able to compete with him last time. With they were just exhausted from that Denver series. So
Right.
hopefully, all right. Maddie said he wants to make it to Skullfest this year. Well, you better make it to Skullfest this year. I mean, no excuses. No excuses. Everybody be at Skullfest this year. Eric better be at Skullfest. Everybody better be at Skullfest. Gary,
Yeah, I mean,
we're pumped.
yeah, I have a better chance of that than the draft party because I had my oldest on the same day that we drafted Cordero Patterson and Xavier Rhodes and Sharif Floyd. So every
Oh,
draft week, and then my wife's birthday is 2 days before that. So every year during the draft, I have at least one, if not two, birthday parties. And it's like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna go out to US Bank Stadium, and I get shut down every single year. So maybe Skullfest, I'll have a better chance at that.
tourist season is busy for you, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Well, a lot of stubborn girlies in the house.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see what else is up, chat. Sal gonna need a round on you. All right, I got you. If they lose, they're not gonna lose though. Sal, according to LeBron, the ball is part of the hand, but I don't think the wrist is part of the ball. How do you trip Luca when he stepped on Jaden's foot? I don't know. Like it is so tiring with Luca, and I was actually feeling really bad for Luca when he got traded. I just felt so bad for the guy because he was so depressed, and I just like, oh my god, this is terrible that Dallas treated him this way, and God, after like 2 games, I was just so sick of his shit. It's like,
It's constant. It just it every single play. Like I like bitch at the refs here and there, but it's just if you're a ref, like you just tune him out after a certain point. Like, oh, guess what? He's gonna come in over and bitch at me, and yeah, like it's and you know I think the LeBron theatrics have been a little bit, like when he was peeking out after the foul in game 2, where he's like, oh yeah, oh, okay, now I got the foul, oh we're good. But yeah, it's so annoying, and yeah, I really wish the game 5 was tonight because I think that the
yeah.
Lakers would be absolutely shot because they did not sub in the second half in game 3. I think yeah,
So
like
weird.
or in game 4. Like that's well because that just shows how desperate they were to win that game and how much they believe in their bench. And the Wolves can, if Conley's not feeling it, you can bring other people in. You can bring uh, Jaden. You can bring, we can throw lots more at the problem. And again, there's no guarantees. It is the Lakers, and it is two of the greatest players in the NBA on the other side. But I think the Wolves got it. Like that, I'd love to see them close it out, like you said, just because the longer these series go on, the tougher it is to beat the next round opponent.
Yeah, it's a bummer that they gave them an extra day. Cause and effects, Sal, I owe you a Vizzy because you didn't say hi. Why didn't you just say hi? You should have just interrupted me. Why didn't you interrupt me? I'm always running my mouth, so you have to just interrupt. Bulldog, Bronny James, and Shador Sanders can start the all nepotism team. I've
Bulldog, you're on
seen
fire.
I've seen people saying that, but at least from what I've observed with Bronny, he seems pretty humble and quiet. I've never seen him act the way that Dion's kid does. But what is your theory why he fell so far in the draft? We've never seen anything like that. A projected first round pick fall to day 3.
Yeah,
It's
I think
crazy.
I think it's a combination of factors. Well, the biggest factor is that I think he was always a mid-round guy that was hyped up as more. Like just with he doesn't have great athleticism, doesn't have a great arm. Does he, the quarterbacks that do end up going, even Bo Nix last year, when everyone's like, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe he went 12." He has put up enough film where it's like, okay, I can see the upside here. And with Sanders, it's like, okay, and how many teams do you think are in for a quarterback, especially in this quarterback class? Maybe 5 or 6 were thinking about it in the first round, but then every other team isn't really thinking about it in the first round. But then I think him slipping to day 3 was probably okay. These teams have him second or third round grade on him. Do we need a quarterback that bad? Or if we're looking at a quarterback, what comes along with Shedeur. And maybe they had all these reports of him bombing these interviews. I don't know if that's how. It's tough to tell who leaks that kind of information. Who has what to gain from that. But then it's like, okay, say we take Shedeur Sanders to be our QB2. As a coach, I have to worry about rumors of, as soon as our team loses a couple games, then I have to worry about, okay, all the questions about Shedeur. And I have to worry, if our team's losing, I have to worry about, oh, is Dion going to move from Colorado to my team to coach next year? Stuff like that. So I think the first, not going in the first round makes sense because I don't think he really fit the first round profile. But him going that late was probably because like all the extra baggage that teams maybe anticipated. I don't think it was a blackballing or kind of like a culture thing or anything else like that. But I think it was, okay, is this guy worth it for all the extra that's going to be around, whether that's justified, whether that's Shedeur's fault or not, there's going to be extra attention paid to him. So do you really want that in a back, like Sam Howell? Or you think we're going to see a whole lot of fuss about him? McCarthy throws a couple of interceptions. People aren't going to be, pounding down the doors for Howell to start right away. But if if Shedeur Sanders is the backup for someone, that a starter that slips, then the questions come right away.
Right. I totally get it, the first round thing, and I understand, like a lot of people are saying in the chat, that he didn't take the draft process seriously, must have had a lot of bombed interviews and things like that. I get that, but think of the guys that we see with similar behavior who have like criminal charges, beating women, sexual assault allegations and things like that, who are also showboaty and arrogant and narcissistic, who fall in the draft, but they don't fall in the draft to day 3. I mean, there's a ton of guys who have character issues who still get drafted. So I don't know. It's wild.
That's what I think. Like if he was a can't miss prospect in like this, then it wouldn't have been a problem. Like if he was a top generational pick or whatever, yeah, then he could have all that other stuff that you mentioned without, this is just kind of being kind of a a perceived pain. But that's kind of the one thing I appreciate most about sports. At its core, it's still kind of a meritocracy where it's like, if you're good, you're going to play. Like that's, but again, I think him sliding to day 3 was a shock. I thought he'd be really early on day 2, at maybe the end of day 2 at the latest. And I remember because I was coaching a track meet on Friday night, and I checked all the results. I'm like, oh, I wonder where. I searched through Twitter. I'm like, oh, I wonder where he went. I'm like, oh, he didn't go on Friday. Like that's super shocking.
I know. And how crazy. It was so funny seeing the draft room, everybody's face when they finally picked him. Like Kevin Stefanski, everyone's just like,
right? That's kind of telling. Like, did someone tell? Well, because they already picked Dylan Gabriel. They already drafted a quarterback from Oregon. Like, they're okay. So they're just. It feels like someone's like,
call?
Yeah.
Who made that call?
It didn't look like anyone in that room.
No, it was so weird. Kevin Stefanski over there in Cleveland. I mean, everybody knows Cleveland is a shit show, but that guy over there, I mean, what he's been handled. I mean, for being a QB coach guy, that's his history and what he's been handed to deal with over there. I don't think any of it's really been his decision. It doesn't seem like. And woof.
Yeah,
but
I mean, with his record, almost any other situation he's already fired. But like, he's kind of the only consistent thing there. Like, I don't think anyone, he went and
he was coach of the year.
Yeah, he won coach of the year, which can be the kiss of death for, so didn't Brian Dable win coach of the year? And now he's on the super duper hot seat in New York. So like, that's
knock on wood for KOC.
Yeah.
Let's not say that.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. That's the NFL stands for not for long. But yeah, Stefanski, that poor guy. Like, he has been dealt a terrible, terrible hand. And if he finally escapes, gets fired by Cleveland, I think he'll find a new job pretty quick.
Yeah, I was so pro Stefanski for so long because I wanted Zimmer to be fired. I wanted him to be promoted, Stefanski to be promoted, but then Zimmer had to go win that damn playoff game. So Stefanski moved on, and so I was always rooting for him, but I couldn't after they got Watson. I just couldn't do it. Someone said, cause and effect. Sal, did you hear Sanders got troll called when they called and said he was picked by the Saints? Yes. And aren't they trying to pursue legal action and find the prank caller?
Well, Well, it was. I think it was like the Falcons defensive coordinator's kid. I think that's who it was. Like, because
What?
the Falcons did a whole statement on this. Like, they're like, we've deeply apologized and we understand the gravity. So, like, they know who it is, and like now there are people calling for this defensive coordinator to get fired. And it's like, well, no, this kid's kind of just an asshole. But yeah, like that's what it like. He was prank called. Like, hey, you got picked by the Saints. That is
Oh, that's how
that
he
is
got
a
the
dick
number.
move. Yeah, like I think he must have had but like I, I I should probably look it up, but I'm almost certain it was the the son of the Falcons defensive coordinator. I'm almost certain about that.
Oh,
Yeah, so like
okay.
so
Yikes.
what a story.
Sarah says Stefanski deserves a Nobel Peace Prize, and I agree. I agree. He definitely does. And remember the one game that the Browns played, a playoff game, and however long he was in the basement with
That's right.
COVID?
Yeah, he had COVID. Yes.
He,
Gosh.
could,
Yeah.
he couldn't
Just
even call the game. He
you
couldn't
can't.
even be at the game for oh my God, I forgot about that. And didn't they win? They won, right?
That one, yes. And then I
And
think was that the year they came. And then they came really close against the Chiefs.
mhm.
Like, yeah. Yeah. Wow. Yep.
And it was
And
Prefer that had to call the game on the sidelines. Chris Cluey's foe.
Chris Cluey's buddy. Yep.
Who, yeah. Oh man, we don't have time to get into Chris Cluey. But someone said he won 2 Coach of the Year awards. I don't know about all that, but that would be crazy. But all right, well, I guess we better wrap it up. You guys, please make sure you're subscribing. Like I said, we got to hit 6,000 before that schedule release on May 14th. That would be so awesome. And please like. But Eric, what else do we have to add here? What else? What other little draft tidbits do we have? It's going to be real boring here for the next couple months.
That's okay to be boring. But we have that was my favorite part of the draft. I think is when they had the announcement for the date, like the date for the draft. I love that. Like they had a special, like it's coming out on May 14th. Like they had made a big thing. But again, that's really fun because then I can, like we said, then you can start looking at dates for flights for
Plan
away
your
games,
life.
things like that. But yeah, good. Let's be boring. Let's have JJ McCarthy say all the right things and throw some footballs at practice and see if Randy Moss's kid can make it. But keep those stories coming. I'm okay with having a boring off season because I'm really excited about the Vikings. and yeah, see, just snore away like the dog. Yep.
Yeah, you can finally plan your life when it comes out. Everybody, my recommendation to you, which I'm sure I'll say this 100 more times, if you want to go to a away game, you got to book the flight as soon as the damn schedule comes out. Don't wait one more day because then the
Then
flights
they
go
go
up.
up. Mm-hmm.
Yep, we can't wait. We can't wait one more day. This is Lorenzo, everyone, by the way. This is Lorenzo. Look how cute. Yeah, what was I going to say about the damn schedule list? Yeah, then you can plan your life. Everyone, please send a good vibe that we have a home game on Sunday, September 28th, because that is my birthday. And I've realized you only have a Sunday birthday or, whatever specific day of the week birthday once every 11 years because of leap year. And, so I'm not going to a home Vikings game, having a home tailgate on my birthday 11 years from now. So this will be my last opportunity. Like I'm not going to be 50 having a home tailgate. So,
or you could go to Ireland for your birthday. That wouldn't be bad.
Oh, sure. Yeah. But if I have a tailgate, if I have a home tailgate, that's going to be like the biggest tailgate of all time. And then I can hang it up the following year. So that'll be
Just
my
mic drop tailgate. I love it.
That'll be my send off. So everyone send a good vibe for that. But thank you so much, Eric, for joining me. Thank you, chat, for hanging out. You guys check out the Real Forno show tomorrow night at the regular time. And yeah, SKOL. I'll see you guys next Tuesday. Like I said, I'm going to have Mental Health Month content all the month of May. So Mental Health Awareness Month. Love you guys. SKOL.
SKOL.
Like, subscribe, and ring the bell. And rate us on your favorite aggregator. And a big shout out goes to Sal and her guests on this Vikings First and SKOL production, partnered with the Fans First Sports Network. Thanks, everyone, and SKOL.